Hey, right there. Hi, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of What the Hell's Happening on Dead by Daylight today. Is the sound alright? Oh, we can see the thingy. Okay. So let me take a second to introduce you to one of our new team members, Isabelle.
Hey, how are you?
No, that's the wrong title though. She's not a community manager. That's
Indeed.
the not queen title. She's not a community manager.
It's okay, Jan, thank you.
I have Isabelle here with me today because, first of all, I wanted to introduce you our new team member. We do have new team members. And because she has some interesting things to share with you, but not just yet. First of all, I'm going to go... The camera is positioned weird, supposedly. Someone is telling you that your camera work is shoddy. So, let's start by saying thank you, Bjorn. First of all, for the weird camera placement. Second, for the little glitch we had a little earlier.
I'm a senior broadcast manager.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you,
there's
Jan.
Bjorn. We're gonna get there. One day we'll get there. It's okay. So yeah, thank you, Bjorn, for being with us and making sure everything is flawless as usual. Second, we have a bunch of mods with us in the chat today. Thank you very much for making this work. Isaiah, we have Ludzi, Giriwed, Murph, Shiroku, Suggestive, and Vorfidus. Thank you very much for joining us as usual and making sure to, well, just helping us herd cats, essentially. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about today, we need to address this. I wanted to skip that because it's none of our business, because we're working on Dead by Daylight, but there's a bunch of people sitting next to us who are extremely excited, and they just showed right now the very first glimpse of Death Garden. Death Garden is a new project from Behavior Studios, but it is not from the team that did Dead by Daylight. We're just sitting next to each other. So there was a lot of talk that we saw immediately on like Reddit and whatever. Obviously they learned a few things from us and they can ask us questions because we like each other, but essentially it's completely different people that are doing this. It's not us. We're all still very much focused on Dead by Daylight, and as you can see here, we even have new people on the team because we need more people to make this game even better and stronger and faster and more powerful. That didn't really fit in, but it's wonderful. Thank you, Phil. Phil is hiding until later. So, there you go. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. It's going to stay on that little crawler the whole time, so you can see that Dead by Daylight and Dead Garden are created by two completely different teams of people. All right. Okay, let me close this here. And let's take a second to show the roadmap. So last week we had some very exciting announcements. Two of them that came in pretty much at the same time. First of all, we bought back the whole publishing rights to Dead by Daylight from our very good friends at Starbreeze, which was super exciting for us. And then we showed everybody out there, you, with your help, the roadmap of what's coming for Dead by Daylight, and we made a commitment, a solid commitment to a plan that we're going to talk a little bit about right now. Can we show the thingy, please? Thank you. So, please, tell us about this, because you've been a big part of creating this plan, so...
Thank you, Mathieu. First, I would like to say that it is my first live stream, so I'm a bit nervous.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the type of person that is behind the camera and not in front of the camera, so...
You're doing absolutely fine so far.
Thank you. I'm very happy today to be here because I wanted to talk about this roadmap with you. That's something that is very, very exciting for us. The idea is that we wanted to show you how committed we are to support Dead by Daylight for the years to come. And we really wanted to let you know that for us, year 3 is only the beginning, and we wanted to share that vision with you. So that's why we decided to show you this roadmap for year 3. We hope that you are as excited as us about it. And yeah.
No, I just noticed that there's something missing in this roadmap that I thought was one of the most exciting things that we announced that people didn't catch on. But the chapters in the upcoming chapters that are coming, it's not just a killer, a survivor, and a map.
It's also,
We're adding customization for existing characters that are themed to the new chapter, which is super cool.
In the video and in the letter that we wrote and that we released last Thursday, I think, we only showed to you 3 cosmetics, 3 outfits for our killers, but we have many, many more to come.
Yeah, so Phil is going to come by in a few minutes to talk about the ones that we showed you, to give a little more detail, a little more backstory about those outfits that we showed you for the killers. But yes, we have made quite a lot more, and you should be very excited about that. They say, no need to be nervous, you're lovely, and the players they like to hear what you have to say. Oh, okay. So you're doing well. You're a pro.
Thank you so much. And also, we wanted to give you a little heads up about what's coming in the coming months before the start of this new roadmap. Yeah. We have 3 priorities that we are currently working on. The first one is the loss of progress bug. The second one is the anti-cheat reinforcement. And the third one is the emblem. Yeah,
yeah, very, very. The loss of progress, we understand that if we are changing the progression to make it grindable, to get characters and all that, you need to be able to trust absolutely in our save system. And right now you are right to not do so. There's been too many issues where people have lost their progress. We are squashing these bugs. We've already patched twice in the last month. The instances of that problem have dropped considerably. Yes. And we are monitoring right now, making sure that they just never happen again.
Exactly. We're going to keep monitoring those results and keep patching until it is completely resolved.
Yeah. There's a question, when the new patches come and you can unlock with playtime, how exactly will that work? Is it literally going to be hours, or is it like shards?
What I would like to say is that for now we are not ready to share the exact details with you, but
so
we
formal.
We are preparing an FAQ that we'll be sharing with you in a couple of weeks.
All right. But it's not going to be the shard system, but it's going to be different. But yeah, obviously, if we want to make it so that you can either buy it or grind it, then the grind has to be at least significant. So we'll see about it.
There will be things for everyone, as it has been mentioned in the video. Yeah. So I hope that you will like it.
There you go. All right. So what else do I have on the agenda? That's the roadmap that we talked about. Okay, other than that, we have the reveal killer customization. I do have the Q&A, but I'll get to that a little later. So, and the other thing is next week is PAX in Boston, and we will be there, and it's going to be exciting, and we will show you things that you have not seen before. So come see us, put on your best Dead by Daylight cosplay, come shake our hands and hug us, and we will be very happy. That's it, really. That's all I got. So keep the questions coming. Our mods are doing a great job of sifting through the crazy things and then letting me... Oh, okay. So I can look it up and see what's happening. Well, that's it, really. Unless you have other specific question about the roadmap, that's it. Wasn't so bad.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
You're fine. Okay.
I just wanted to let you. I just wanted to tell you thank you for being part of this with us. We've seen a lot of positive comments about the roadmap, and it's really, really heartwarming. So thank you very much.
There you go. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thanks.
You can go and relax now.
It's very stressful.
Phil, please join me. All right.
We don't see it.
Up to you to show it. Oh, okay. So Johnny is saying things. All right. Many questions about the. Okay, so I'll get to this question just because it was in the it's in the Q&A that I have, but there's a lot of questions about the audio issues for killers that we are experiencing right now. These issues. There's some things that have been adjusted, and it's in the next patch that's coming. I don't have the exact day, but it's the next one that's coming up, yep. Which has been tested pretty much thoroughly, so it should be imminent. Will there ever be fan-made killers or survivors? Probably not like one-to-one. I don't think we're gonna do like a contest, design your own killer or something. But we've integrated bits of outfit for the trapper already in the past, and we talked about the workshop. The Steam workshop would be a great place for people to showcase their stuff. We keep seeing your thingy.
We sure read everything, so
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
and sometimes there's a lot of imagination, so
Yeah.
that's good. So yeah, we're filtering a bit, but there's some good ideas, and you guys should keep on sending ideas and
Yeah, and we look at them. So some people are asking what we're going to show at PAX. Obviously, if I told you now, then we'd sort of be at PAX with a limp surprise, let's say. So we're not going to do that.
I'm not the surprise.
You're not the surprise?
No, I'm not going to PAX.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I said, Bjorn, we can see your thingy, and some people think it's funny because obviously we're all 12.
That guy never sleeps.
Who,
Somebody-
Bjorn? Yeah,
Oh,
he never sleeps.
I thought they were talking about me. They know my sleeping behavior.
Oh no, you don't sleep.
I'm not allowed.
No, you just sort of sit in the dark for a couple hours.
Yeah. And they come out.
Sit in a chair. The professional, like Leon, the professional. All right, let's talk about those really cool outfits that we showed.
Yeah.
So that was for those of you who didn't check the newsletter and the trailer, the video, I mean, that we released last week. You really should go back and check it out. But for those of you who saw them, let's show the outfits a little better now. So let's start with the doctor. There you go. So we showed that. You
Yep.
can take us off. It's there. You go. That's what people want to see.
Yeah, we tried to show the most craziest kind of ideas.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it's a great place for us to add a little lore to the character
Yeah.
and tell a bit more of their story.
yeah, we kept the hospital look, but more on the military kind of
Mhm.
way, the suit. And if we check the other image, something we didn't see, it's all the gruesome detail that we put in, and all those little arms are moving. And I think
Yeah,
somebody
they're all
wanted
animated.
somebody wanted to show it today, and
Well, I think Johnny put a file somewhere, but I don't think it's happening. So we'll see if we can get a hold of that. But anyway, it just looks so gorgeous. Oh, you have a file.
We have a file.
Okay, show the thing, please, Bjorn.
Oh my God, it's moving.
Yeah,
So-
so the little fingery things are sort of tickling his eyeballs.
The main idea is to his little arms are pointing, playing with his part of the brain that is either happiness, but in this case, I think it's just pain and pleasure, and yeah,
He's not well.
He's
Let's
not
say
so-
he's not well.
no.
So yeah, someone was asking if the stuff that we will be showing at PAX, people that don't go to PAX, will they be able to see that? Yes, yes. I assume that this information will be disseminated quite quickly. Philip, I love your work and what you do. I want to go into the career path too. Be ready to abandon everything else. Is my only advice on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a fun path.
Yeah, but that's it. You give up everything else, and then you become an amazing artist. That's it.
all right.
There's no other secret. Just work hard all
Yeah.
the time.
But on the team, there's a lot of artwork. Or like you're seeing, this
Yeah. This
Doctor has been done by Ivanovic, which is a great character artist.
Yeah.
And we'll see another character, maybe not
Yeah.
the
Let's
one
show the
after,
next
but-
one. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Show that.
And that's from Damien. So
Yeah.
it's our take on the ag. We try to explore the other side of the ag, which is more of a connection with the nature.
Yeah.
Her skin is less dry than usual, so
Well, that's it. So that's what happens to the hag when she's watered and fertilized, I guess.
yeah. And there's a cool also effect on her stomach section. It's like
Yeah, that's one of the things also. In these new customization, we try to put in VFX and animation and a lot of really, really cool elements like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of love and work by the team. Also the animator, which animated the little twiggling arms on the doctors. Doctor, there's only one doctor, sorry. We can show you.
Yeah, the last one is also Eric.
Yeah, Eric did a great job. It's a concept that I always wanted us to do, but apparently we couldn't do, but
now we can.
So the look at her face, she's struggling with plastic and she's suffocating.
So when I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind is Laura Palmer. Wrapped in plastic. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool outfit, and that weapon is a new weapon that Pat, another
Mr.
artist.
Fantastic?
No, Pat. Pat, who is another guy working with us, doing weapons and sometimes characters, so he did a great job with this. So that blade is pretty...
it's nasty looking.
Nasty, yeah. And I wish we could show more, but there's so many other cool stuff coming in.
You'll have to wait.
Yeah.
You'll have to wait a little bit.
I think it was fun to push the craziness of Lou's character a bit more than... we didn't want to push too much, then we said, you know what, let's
go nuts.
Let's go nuts. And I think we're getting some crazy, but good.
Yeah, to be fair, it's funny because I talked to Damien and Eric, and I'm like, you're character artists, and in the industry you end up working, and some projects are more exciting than others, and some you do something really cool, but then you sort of do the same thing over and over again. And in this case, I'm like, this is the jackpot for you guys, because they keep doing new characters that are completely crazy, and then do weird variations on them. It's like essentially what they'd be doing on their own time. If they could, but now we're paying them for it.
Paying them, and there's a guideline, but there's always a part of creativity that they're allowed to push, and I think that's what's make them.
It's part of the magic of doing our own thing and owning our own brand. Is that we can create stuff like that without having to ask permission. Well, it's also why we can't really do variations on Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger, because they're not ours. So we'll keep taking questions on that, but right now I want to... Oh, there are questions. Are you doing an Easter event? No, it's just me sitting in my underwear at home eating chocolate. I call it the Easter event, but really, it's not a community event. Nobody's invited. How would I go about becoming a game director? That's a tough one, Mr. Soft Hand. Already you have a good name for that. But it's a whole complete different conversation. But feel free to just essentially work in the industry, first of all, for 10 years. Start any discipline, any profession, work in it for a long time, because you need to learn the ins and outs of that. And then you have to be willing to let everybody else take credit and take the blame for everything. There. Are you going to make cosmetics for Survivors as well?
Yes, sir.
Of course.
Sorry, I didn't know if...
No. Yeah.
I'm allowed to say,
Yes. We're making cosmetics for Survivors as well. Altered animations for abilities. So, I'm not going to answer that right now. We talked about the PTB last week as part of the development cycle. Will new chapters be released in the PTB before going live? That's a very good question. And most likely, in some form or another, we're going to make sure that this gets tested to the community at large. I'm not sure we're going to be able to directly give access to everything to everyone beforehand, because that's that's the sort of thing that will make the marketing team explode. But we'll see. Okay, so I have some Qs. I will try to give some As too. So, survival stats at high ranks, that was asked before. I wasn't able to give you the visuals on that, but what I have right now is the difference between PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So rank all ranks is 47.4 to 47.7. So it's about 47% of escapes per match, which is great. And when you get to rank 1 to 5, it's about 43 to 45%. So it drops a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Next week, because Julien is back, our data analyst, so starting next week we should be able to give you fancy stats again. When will the sound for the killers be adjusted? We talked about, well, I talked about it a little earlier, saying it's in the next patch that's coming. What do you have planned to celebrate stream number 100? Because today is 94.
Oh.
Nothing.
But it's 93 there.
Well, you have to refresh harder than that.
Hard
yeah.
refresh. All right.
There you go.
Oh.
Okay.
Now we have
And now we have to
I'm
deal
hungry.
with the ads.
I didn't eat.
How many DCs does it actually take until players are getting banned for regularly ruining other players' matches? So we don't want to give hard numbers on that or proportion because obviously the people who are malevolent and try to play our system will use this information to be a dick even more. But let it be known that if you don't DC on purpose, if you don't do this as a matter of course, as a tool to play your game, then you will never get banned for that. But we look at patterns, and if you do get use DC like that, then you most likely will get banned. Are you planning on adding more objectives for survivors? So like the reverse bear trap, it's sort of a side objective for survivors. We do have a few other ideas that might come in like that. As we keep saying, we're not going to redo the game. I mean, we're not going to change the way things are, but definitely a few more things to do and alternate ways to play correctly and to enjoy yourself will very likely make it in. Are you considering any changes to what survivors can and cannot do during dream transition versus the nightmare? So I have a few questions here about Freddy, and we are right now looking at changes to the dream and its effect, and we know that Freddy is a big point of contention in the community right now. So we want to tweak it and make sure that it's adjusted so that people are feeling better about it. Can you please give Hag the same momentum after a teleport as she has when you press the teleport button? So right now when she comes out of a teleport, she has 0 speed. This makes her lunge extremely short. We understand there's a frustration there, but it's as designed. It could be changed. It could absolutely be changed. But yeah, it's part of limitations that a Hag. Killers need to have a bit of a limitation somewhere. Okay, that's okay. The next one is a bit of a touchy one. It says, when we were asked why do you balance the game around rank 20s, we responded by saying we balance the game around all ranks, and that when we do changes that are specifically for rank 20s or for rank 1s, we try to make sure it doesn't affect the other side, in any negative way. Then why is this statement not consistent with the overwhelming consensus among top tier players that Freddy is the worst killer in this game? I'm always a little phased, stunned by these intense claims like this, but that's a valid concern. And that he is absolutely not viable at top tier. So not every character in the game, not every perk in the game is intended to be as efficient as every other in the top game. It's just not how it's built. In the same way that if you look at other very competitive games, there are builds, there are characters that are not used in top tier games because they're just not part of it. So that being said, as I said, Freddy is right now often mentioned because people don't like him. Okay, some do, but we want to. Not all characters are meant to be exactly equal, and balancing does not mean everything's absolutely the same. That would be kind of boring.
Yeah.
But yes, we are looking at Freddy. You almost looked like you wanted to add something. Are you good? Okay.
No, it seems like Freddy's the big.
Yeah, right now. Myers' hands are unnaturally, almost comically big. Do you ever plan to make them more proportionate?
The what?
The hands, Michael Myers' hands. So, no, because he's approved by the licensor. That's how they wanted him to be represented in the game, so we're not going to change that.
Yeah, we might put.
His knife is, I mean, if we made his hand smaller, he couldn't hold his knife.
Yeah, we could put some nail polish.
Would that help?
No.
Just give him the hag's hands.
Yeah. Yeah, what about the accents?
Yeah, no. Do you plan to create an automatic system of ban for insults in the post-game chat? So right now, we actually, Dave and I were at GDC last week, and we went to a few really interesting talks about toxicity in the community, and the Fair Play Alliance was there, and there was a lot of very interesting conversations there. And one of the things is, we want to make sure that Dead by Daylight is respectful and a fun place for everybody. Obviously, it is a super competitive game. It is a game of intense emotional reactions.
Yeah.
So we expect that people will keep reacting strongly and emotionally. But I mean, there is a few ways we want to look at that. Most likely, if we're keeping the chat pretty much the way it is, what's going to happen is we're going to go to an outside tool. There are a bunch of experts that created tools to automatically moderate chats. So that's probably what we're going to do. Remember how you hinted at some buffs that could be coming to Killer, like animations and movement speed? Could you talk a little more about this, if possible? Hex DBD. So that's a very interesting question, and I cannot answer that because I'd probably say something that would be slightly inaccurate. I've done that in the past. I'd need to get Horvat or Walker or someone like this here, which is something that I will look at for next week. I think it might be interesting. Don't touch Myers' hands is what I've been asking. Are you ringing?
No, I think it's you.
Oh,
I think it's Arvat.
Nope. Okay. Now that you own the rights to Dead by Daylight, will you ever consider creating new character models for killers, like reverse jointed legs, bug-like killers with multiple or elongated limbs to interact with the maps? Well, these two things are completely unrelated.
Yeah.
I mean, the production of the game was always fully under our control. I mean, the publisher has some input on what we're creating, but that kind of decision was mostly on our side. So, I mean, we're still going to look at that, but we answered that question many times before.
Okay.
This would be super cool, obviously making a spider or someone with backwards limbs, except it would be super expensive.
Yeah.
Like literally, instead of taking 3 months to make that chapter, it would take us 6 more. And it would create so many weird bugs, for sure.
Some fun one, but some.
But that's it. So for us, it's weighing this against, giving you more regular content or one thing that's just completely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on hitting up DreamHack Montreal one of these years? Yeah, I think we actually passed by, but
what?
DreamHack Montreal. It's an event in Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I didn't
we probably didn't mention it. It's like the Montreal Comic Con when we go there and we don't tell anyone because it's Montreal. Yeah, so that. I still have a few cues in here. Okay. Is the trapper's reticle for placing traps intentionally misaligned, or is it a bug? So we know it's a little weird, the way the highlight of the trap is not exactly where you place the trap, because they're two different systems. This was never created to be a very precise tool. I mean, it's supposed to give you an indication of where you're putting your trap, and placing bear traps is, and the fact that it's a long animation that you were sort of stuck in once you start it makes it a little frustrating when it's not exactly where you wanted to put it. But for us, it was a tool that did the job good enough for this. We're probably not going to change it. It's an imprecise tool for the trapper to place his traps. 99% of the time it doesn't matter. It's mostly when you're saying like, I want to put it directly on this step of the stairs, and then you put it on the other step instead, and you're like, ah, shit. Or directly on this
Rock.
really dark rock, and then it's not exactly on the rock, and yeah.
Or rock.
Are there any plans on making a Mori pack where killers can buy different types of Mori? We talk about that often.
Yeah. It's a long.
No.
Takes a lot of time to think and.
Yeah, and I mean, we are right now opening essentially a place where you will be able to, you know, grind and buy your customization to make your character more your own and to showcase things and for bragging rights. So this type of thing would fit in perfectly with that idea. I'll say it's not in the initial offering, but yes, we absolutely want to do that. First, I would like to congratulate you on getting the publishing rights to the game. Thank you. Second, in the future, is it possible we will be able to play as the survivors on the lost tapes, or at least learn more about them? Absolutely. I said maybe there, but I'm saying absolutely. So it'd be cool. Learning about them, absolutely. You will learn more about Benedict and a few of the others mentioned. It's funny because some of those mentioned are actually some of our mods that have been with us since the beginning. As far as playing them as survivors, not sure. We do have a few ideas of what's coming as far as survivors, and we always look for cool opportunities to add a little more meat on our lore. So, you know, it's not out of the question. And then I have a blank page because we got to the end of the Q&A. So yeah, do I have many more questions here? What's your thoughts on giving Wraith a build in Windstorm to give him a little bit of a buff? A built-in Windstorm. Ah, okay, better. I don't know. That's a design question. I'll let the designers answer that. But to me, it's not the first thing I'd go to. Now that you own the full rights of DBD, what's possible now and what wasn't back then? I don't want to get into the details of that now. We could do maybe not a panel on it, but we'll give you more information. But yeah, yeah, I'm not getting into that. What days are you going to be at PAX East? Well, we have a booth there, so we'll be there all days at PAX East. If you want to come and see and mostly hear Matt Walker in person, this is going to be your opportunity.
Or you can stand in front of the.
Yeah, you don't actually have to get into the conference center itself. You'll be able to hear him from right outside. Yeah, but that's it. So there's going to be a bunch of us, and it's going to be a really cool behavior booth, and you can come and see us at PAX East. Plus, it's Boston. I kind of like Boston. It's it's a nice town.
Yeah, it is.
Is it a city? It's probably a city. Okay, so town is probably a little short. Yeah. So yeah, I think we reached the end of this. So quickly, the roadmap that Isabelle showed, it's our commitment. And to reiterate what's at the top there flying by, the Dead by Daylight team has grown since the launch, but it keeps growing even today. Isabelle joined us. We talk about a bunch of the artists that we got. Some of them joined in the last 6 months. I mean,
a new one is joining us in a week or next week.
Really, there's even faces I don't know. And it's just there's a lot of us now. There's about 75 people now in Dead by Daylight, and the really cool thing about the roadmap for me is it shows the players out there that we are literally just hitting our stride, and now we'll be able to, you know, support this game fully and actually keep growing it for at least the next year. And we gave you a bit of an idea of the beats we're gonna hit. So yeah. So yeah, that's really nice. And then we talked a little bit about the killer customization. That's it, really. Other than that, we're going to be at PAX, and I'm very thrilled about that. Yeah. The bit that I don't want to forget, I went around the interwebs and found some really cool stuff that our fans have been making. And let's show some of these. So I have my list here so I can follow along.
You don't have a little song playing in the back?
I do not. So this is Alexis, I believe. That's very cool. I just love seeing those sort of cartoony things, and I want to read the whole comic strip. Then the next one is Big Mistake Productions.
Big mistake.
Yeah, I like it. I
Yeah,
don't
it's-
understand why. It's just a really cool little sketch. The next one is Barney.
Oh,
I love when people get into their crafting and make cool things like this. This is really neat.
I love how big the mask is, because
Yeah.
the
But
mask
it-
look small on
It,
the
it
Undressed
almost looks as if the body is from a template or something.
yeah.
It's taken from something. But
That's
it's
cool.
It's really, really cool.
Hope it's not
Hypocrite Cannibal made this really cool,
Nice.
cute nurse. Then we have JK3D Sparrow. Finally, I was very happy to say finished this little black and white, very nicely stylized. I like it.
There's the pig. with the
Yeah.
Puppet.
I like how Freddy is kind of, it's almost
Hey.
like Michael Jackson, smooth criminal
Yeah.
kind of thing. Now I'm dating myself. Okay, Young Easter, adorable. This is just stupid cute. That little rate specifically.
Is the doctor cutting? Oh, he's putting some electricity on his head.
Yeah. Kawara, returning
Nice.
artist here. Always gorgeous stuff.
Is that watercolor or?
Yeah, I think so. Very nice. Kurichi has given us this cool huntress. Big eyes. Very big eyes.
I'm happy that people enjoy the Undressed.
Yeah.
They,
I like how, when we came out with the Doctor, it was the best thing we've had ever done. And then we did the lullaby, and it was the best thing we had ever done. And the next chapter that we're doing is is the best thing we'll ever have done.
can't talk about it.
No, we're not allowed. Lee Mallinson sent me this. This is so adorable. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Coolest parent.
and those kids are so happy running from their mother.
Kids are healing the parents.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like, the whole story is amazing. Yeah. Next one is Milk Nahap. Again, I love it because it's super stylized. It's obviously that person's very own take on it. I like it. Neko Grills is showing us this.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's good ink. It came out really, really nicely. The whites usually are difficult, but the shading worked very well on this. So congrats, you are now officially cool. Vompy gave us this.
Doctor.
It's very Invader Zim kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love it. And the next one is from an unknown source. I thought you'd appreciate that. So
Is it a pillow or?
yeah, it's an ace body pillow, and that hag person seems to be getting a kick out of it.
Yeah,
So
that's-
there you go. I thought this would please people since they've missed me in the weeks I wasn't there.
Good finishing touch.
Alright, so there's comments there that I can't read because they're going way too fast. I'll just make sure I didn't miss anything. There's a lot of fans of your art there, Phil.
Cool.
He's the voice actor for a bunch of killers too. Is that true?
Yeah.
Have you grunted in a microphone before? Little known fact, actually, you are also the voice of the singing sword in Naughty Bear.
Yep.
It's amazing. I am also the voice of a weapon in Naughty Bear. That's true.
Yeah. I know.
With someone who wants to remain unknown.
There's
okay.
I found a wiki page on that sword. It was removed, sadly.
Okay, so I think that's it, really. Thank you very much for joining us again. should I repeat things again? So Dead by Daylight is the team has kept growing, and Death Garden, completely different team. They're sitting next to us, and we like most of them.
Yeah, most.
But really, completely different people. So yeah. Other than that, we will be at PAX, and that's it. Stay tuned for more news in the next weeks. Did I forget something? Please, my lovely mods out there. No, I seem to be okay. And yes, I will go back to the system where I create a presentation with the name of the artist next to the art because it makes it better for people. So that's it. I thanks Isabelle for joining me. She's back at her desk. Thanks Phil for taking the time to come and say a few words. And other than that, that's it. Thank you for joining us out there, and go back to the fog. Thanks, Bjorn.